So I've started practicing breathing underwater. If I train hard enough, I've heard that I'll develop gills after a while.
Hey friends, Mike here, and I don't know about you, but I've been playing a ton of Hitman lately. I grabbed the first 1 or 2 episodes last year and immediately fell in love, and in the past month or so, I've finally been able to get back to the endgame. Colorado is the second to last mission in Hitman's first season, and the reason I'm making a guide for this mission in particular is because I was so intimidated by its increased difficulty compared to other missions at first, and then I found this really satisfying flow to getting through it, and I wanted to share that. So without further ado, here's how to get through Hitman's Colorado mission. Let's start with our planning phase. From the get-go, you'll only have the first option unlocked for both your smuggled item and your starting location. Your smuggled item will have to appear at the Southern Farm Perimeter Shack, and that's actually going to work out just fine for us. Since this is a more locked-down mission, I'm going to skip past the firearms and choose the weapon which, since first using it, has become my new favorite tool, the combat knife. With our location set to the southern perimeter, our only option, let's go ahead and play. Hitman is a game that's really good at slowly and effectively amping up the difficulty from mission to mission, and what that means here is that whereas in other missions you'll start off blending in as a normal person or generally being somewhere it isn't suspicious for you to be, when you drop into Colorado, you're immediately in a hostile area. In addition to that, of course, we have 4 targets to kill instead of just 1 or 2. As we sneak in, we see a pair of guards to the left who we'll be avoiding, and to the right, this window that we can climb through is the shack where we sent our smuggled item. So let's grab our trusty knife, an extra coin for good luck, and sneak out into the yard. The guards by this truck will give us a point of interest about one of our targets. Feel free to check this out if you want. It won't be relevant to this particular run, but they do give us an interesting tidbit in that Ezra Berg is wearing a 3D printed mask. Let's remember that. Sneak out the gate to the right and start towards the guard by this fence in the distance. Keep an eye on whether he or his friend are looking in your direction. Best to keep crouched. Sit in cover behind this crate and wait for the patrolling guard to walk away. Let him get a good distance away before pulling out that combat knife and letting it find a new home in this gentleman's skull. I should mention at this point that this is not going to be a perfect run. We're going to be killing some folks. Run up to your freshly made corpse and be sure to retrieve the combat knife. Not only is it silent and deadly, it's also infinitely retrievable, which I love. Disguise yourself as this guard, and you can grab his weapon too if you like, though we shouldn't have to use it, and since we're not disposing of the body, it's all going to be discovered anyway. Run back to the gate we just came out of, and walk freely through the yard. The guards by the truck will no longer be suspicious of you, but this guy behind them will be, so keep an eye out. Run ahead towards the barn, and as a rule of thumb for any Hitman location, pick up as much stuff as you can along the way. You never know what will come in handy. The point of interest we're going to be following can be overheard next to the barn in this fenced-off area. The militia's point man is apparently recovering from an injury. Let's go be that guy. Run back the way you came, being careful to avoid anyone who might still be suspicious of you, hang a right at this van, and since this militia made their home base at an apricot farm, grab an apricot. In fact, feel free to run around and grab as many as you can. They're, no joke, going to be a big part of this run. There are a ton of apricot crates all around the farm, so there's a slim chance you'll be left wanting. From this first apricot crate, though, we're going to head into this building, which has a marker inside it, because this is where we'll find the point man recovering, along with another guard, to make things difficult. You're going to want to wait until these two are in a particular configuration, so in the meantime, you can grab a jar of lethal poison pills over here, and, while we're at it, another apricot. Once the guard is at the back by the sink looking away from you, and the point man is somewhere closer to you but not looking directly at you, try to open this door to the bathroom and throw an apricot inside without anyone seeing. It may take a few tries.
Strange.
When the point man goes to inspect the noise, introduce him to our pal, Mr. Knife. And now we're the point man. Now the mission markers will tell you to go talk to Maya Parvati next. She's one of our 4 targets, but I've actually found it a bit easier to do this one out of sequence. So instead, run to the side of the barn by this guard working on the battering ram, more on that later, pull out yet another apricot and throw it in a spot far enough away that the guard will take a while to get to it, but not so far that it won't draw his attention. When he walks away, turn off the safety mechanism on the battering ram. This will be important in just a second. Now go ahead and talk to Maya. She'll tell you to go to the barn and wait for her briefing while she grabs Sean Rose, your second target. Do that. Once she's finished explaining the mission you'll be practicing, take out your gun, or grab one, if you don't have one, at this table here, and definitely grab this crowbar. If you miss it, you'll get another one in a second, but grabbing this one saves a little bit of time. Take your place by the battering ram, wait for the mission to start, and then take a shot at each of the dummies inside the car. Once each of their lasers has gone out, run to the car, crowbar the door open, grab the briefcase, and then run and hit this button. If you don't finish before time runs out, don't worry, you will get another chance. When practice is complete, don't just stand around with these guys listening to Sean's pep talk. Instead, walk over to this button and get ready to harvest the fruits of your labor. Wait for Sean to walk over right next to Maya, right in the path of the battering ram, and then let that thing fly. 2 birds with 1 stone. Incredibly, these other militia members shouldn't be suspicious of you at all after hitting that button, which leaves you free to move on. Next up, walk back towards the building where you killed the point man and find your way to this greenhouse. Penelope Graves, target number 3, likes to walk around the farm, and this is one of her pit stops. You'll find her personal diary in here, but it only contains info about Sean Rose, and he's already dead. If you wait for just the right window, this guard will leave, and you can poison Penelope's water bottle with that bottle of lethal poison pills we picked up just before she comes in. If not, there's another apricot on the ground here, and you can use it to get the guard outside. Walk away or watch from the window, either way, we just got our 3rd kill. For our final kill, walk over to this shed near the house. You'll find a guard standing outside and another inside the shed, and they'll periodically talk to each other. There's a tiny bit of cover to hide behind here. Go ahead and crouch down and then nail the outside guard with whatever objects you've picked up, a screwdriver, lead pipe, anything at all. Just make sure that the inside guard is watching this happen. We want him to see this, because when he does, he'll run outside to take a look, at which point Mr. Knife can claim another soul, just like he told you in your dreams. Now quickly, grab your knife and dump both bodies in this dumpster, making sure to also grab their weapons. People noticing these stray guns will completely ruin all your setup. Disguise yourself as a militia elite and wait for the 4th and final target, Ezra Berg. He's the guy wearing that weird 3D printed Michael Myers mask. He spends most of his time in the basement of the big house, but he also comes out to this shed at regular intervals to do villain stuff, with poisons. When he enters the shed, walk in right behind him. This shed door is locked, and then wait for the door to shut out prying eyes and take him to Knife City. Ezra is carrying a king's bounty of items, but the most important here is the basement key. Be sure to grab that. If you miss it, it'll still be here even if his body is found and moved. And there's actually another basement key sitting right on this desk, so you can imagine how a variation of this assassination might be carried out. With all of our murders murdered, it's time to make our way inside the house, which we can do as a militia elite. Make your way to the basement door, unlock, and head on down. There's 1 guard down here, and he's suspicious of us, but we know what to do about that, don't we, Mr. Knife? Yes, we do. You'll find out from here that in order to move on, you'll need Sean Rose's face, and he's very dead. But remember Ezra's creepy 3D printed mask? Yeah. Head back upstairs, up to the 2nd floor, through this hole in the wall, and you'll find these hackers. Luckily, they're not suspicious of you just hanging around up here. In the next room over, bingo, 3D printer. It'll be suspicious to just turn it on yourself, so you'll want to wait until the hackers' patrol cycles match up and they both leave this room. It might take a while, they kinda like to be staggered. Once they're gone, though, hit that 3D printer button and print yourself a fresh face. One of the hackers might come to check out the noise, but it shouldn't be a huge deal. Once they leave you alone, grab the new plastic Sean face, head back downstairs, scan, and you're in. Some plot stuff happens here, so I won't spoil that, but once you interact with the 3 points in this room, with all your targets dead, you're free to go. And may I be the first to say congrats on a mission well executed. Hey, thanks very much for checking out my guide. If you liked what you saw, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll do some more of this stuff in the future. You can also subscribe to my channel, and if you enjoy my work, consider supporting me on Patreon. Till next time.